Hello YouTube, my name is Don Beaton and I am the author of The Return Viewer's Guide. And today it is August 2nd, 2017, and there may only be 297 days left until the ancient object of the crossing down returns and crosses down between the moon and the earth. And this is my second video that I've done, or I'm doing, and I'm hoping to use YouTube similar to the way I used Blog Talk Radio to put some information out there. And this show is all about, or this video rather, is all about the idea that it's not about believing me. From the object itself to the way it changes the light from the moon, there's no way people are going to believe me. So, and as the years have gone by, I've written this in my website and spoken on Blog Talk Radio and said many times that if it was me and someone was telling me this about the object and what happens, I wouldn't believe it either. This is not something I could possibly believe. And so that's a basic, simple fact. You're not going to believe me. However, as it turns out, I did see the object, and I saw what happens when the object crosses in front of the moon and changes the light from the moon, and then casts shadows into that changed light. And I did see the initial stages of what happens and what you see, and I describe it. And the difficulties start long before that, just simply by mentioning the object. A basic simple fact is, for example, a standing stone circle on the earth is a copy, it is a model of a crater on this object. And this object has hundreds of them, and they're all the same style. They're just different sizes, dimensionally. And so that's just too fantastic of a thing all by itself. So when you get into what happens in the changed light, and I am accurately describing what I'm seeing once again, what I saw, you are going to be even more convinced. People are always more convinced that there's no possible way this could be remotely close to anything that really happens. And so, as it turns out, this is actually the way it is, and this is a fact that people. It is a fact that people can't believe this. So years ago, I finally figured out that it's not incumbent upon me to actually be able to prove this, because that's just simply impossible. Just as impossible for me to be able to prove this as it is for someone hearing about this to be able to believe it. When it comes to believing, that's not what this is about. This is about hearing the idea of what happens. I'm a newbie at this screencasting business here. I might have just messed up there. I don't know if I'm going to bother trying to edit that. I'll probably just leave it in. I apologize. People don't need to believe what I say I saw. They don't have to believe anything. And there's no way they're going to. So the next step is to just get the idea of what happens out there. So people have been exposed to the idea. Someone's heard the idea of it. And that's my goal, is just to put the idea out there, put the right information out there. Some people have been exposed to it. Eventually that will change. And eventually, when the object returns, people will see my descriptions match. And that's just the way it is. That's what's going to happen. There's things I guess about, and there's things that I'm describing that I saw. And I try to make a distinction between them as the distinction between them as clear as possible. It's a never-ending situation for me from the time I saw this object and all the stages I went through my life trying to sort this out and be able to finally do something about it. it's been a process, and there's no way people can hear this and accept it, because it's impossible. It's just not going to happen. So you'll know the idea of what happens if you read the Return Viewer's Guide. If you want to know what I say I saw, if you have a chance to know. And so on my website, on the home page, I describe an overview of what happened here, and the crossing, forward rolling, speeding object is beyond stunning and spectacular. And it is going to change the world when people realize that this is what happens. However, it's also true that it's all about the point of a shadow and the fantastically changed light from the moon. The light from the moon becomes changed because of the object's forces, and then shadows from the crater rim pieces are cast into the light from the moon and into the changed light from the moon, and fantastic things are seen. And by the way, this image here, which is a painting my daughter painted for me for Christmas, it was a wonderful gift, is simply representing the three-body system. This is not how these bodies are positioned. However, it is actually fairly close, as it turns out, because the object comes from up here and crosses towards the Earth, going across. There's a long distance between them in actual fact, and then ends up going beside and below the Earth, down beside and below the Sun. So the object where she painted is actually in the right place, but it's not actually exactly in the right place. And she has the object positioned this way, and it needs to be slightly rotated to be actually lined up with the way it rolls. So I don't want people to be confused by this painting, thinking that this is actually depicting exactly what happens. It doesn't. However, it is a very, very special painting to me, and as you can see, it's over here on the front cover of my book, which of course, like I've always mentioned all the way through the years, all my content, all my information is free on my website. I got the information to put in the book from the website. There's a lot more information on the website than there is in the book, and so you don't need to buy the book. All my information's free, and that's the way it should be. It's a part of doing the right thing from my point of view. If I wasn't mentioning this, if I wasn't saying what I saw and talking about what happens, then I would not be doing the right thing. And I just have to accept the fact that unfortunately I've lost friends. People, when they hear about what I say I saw, have to make a choice, unfortunately. This is the reality. I know that later they'll understand why I did it, why I told them, how important it is. They'll get it later, but in the meantime, I know that I've lost friends, people I've talked to and known for years that I've mentioned this to, and then somehow, mysteriously, that's like the last time that we ever talk or run into each other somehow. Just works out that way sometimes. And I get that, and it's a risk I take, and I know I need to do the right thing overall, and so that's what I keep trying to do. And so the basic point of it is, the object returns, it crosses down in front of the moon, and then when the shadows are cast from the object's surface into the changed light from the moon, it sculpts and shapes the changed light. And it's a very, very, very fantastic thing. And that is what happens. The bottom line, the core of the matter is, this is what happens. And believing the details I describe is not important. However, having heard the idea of what happens during the ancient object's return and having read the exact details, even without realizing these details are accurate, people will be seeing the ancient sites and the ancient sequence of events that I describe, and they will be in a situation where they will be realizing that they do indeed have foreknowledge concerning the ancient sites that they will be seeing next as they watch the next return unfold. Everybody not knowing the idea and the points that I describe in the Return Viewer's Guide is the alternative. That alternative is not acceptable and is not an option. slowly but surely, I'm always further accomplishing more of my basic goals. And starting to do YouTube videos is part of that. And it fits in with my page called I'm Absolved. And that's true, but it doesn't mean that I'm done and there's nothing left for me to do just because I put the information out there. So I have to keep trying to make the situation one where more people have heard about this all the time, and hopefully the one of the outcomes of that will be other people also see what happens in the changed light from the moon. I saw with a telescope, and I didn't know it was what I was just about to see, and I saw the sequence of events up to about 45 seconds, roughly 40 to 50 seconds. I'm very fortunate to be able to describe the first part of the ancient object's return. Later, after the ancient object once again leaves to repeat its very long, very, very fantastic orbital course, and the moon's changed light returns back to its normal state, I hope it will be said that I did the right thing. And this is a huge, important point here, because as far-fetched as this may sound now, once the object's detected, the game changes, and the world will never be the same, but also there's going to be a certain level of tension at the very least, and hopefully not panic at the other end of the scale. But I totally get the panic thing. The object is easily the thing that I fear the most. However, at this point, as far as I know, there's every reason to believe the object's next return, orbit down across in front of the moon, will be a safe return, just like the object's last return. I saw it. It happened safely. As far as I know, it happened in 1926. It can happen safely. So this is the basic message at this point. When this object starts to come back, or it is coming back right now, but once it's detected, hopefully with lots of warning, although that may be difficult because of the way the object's motion is, it's basically heading towards us. Unlike other planets which orbit around our star, this object orbits down through the plane of the solar system, past the Earth, and then back out the bottom of the solar system again. Then it's gone again for probably, roughly, I'm guessing, 46 years in one day. And then it's back. And it's that those dates are May 24th, 1926. I think I might have seen the object May 25th, 1972. There's 46 years and one day in between those two dates. Add on that time to May 25th, 1972, and you end up with May 26th, 2018. And that day is also, as it turns out, 3 nights before the full moon. The object will be back, and it's very important that people know the object can return safely. It is a very, very intimidating thing, this object. When you try to imagine the object's color matches the brightest areas of the moon. These are the craters that are located on the surface. They're located in all these areas here, up on the top, and not on the sides. And then consider its motion towards the Earth from the face of the moon. Very, 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 very troubling. However, the fact is my descriptions match, and the only way that could happen is if I had seen it, and that's the only possible way. And so the fact that my descriptions of the object do match and will match what the astronomers are seeing is clear evidence that there is such a thing as a safe return. So you don't need to believe me now, and you don't need to believe what I say later either. Let the object be the proof that you need when you see it, and it will be back. And when it is seen, remember, there is such a thing as a safe return, and that's very important. So thank you, YouTube. Thanks for watching this video. ReturnViewersGuide.ca